My fiancé and partner of 9 years 27 cheated on me, 28 EM. This is a post more so to vent my frustration than anything else. I found out my fiancé of 9 years has been cheating on me for the last 3 months and I've no idea what to do. We also have a 1-year-old son together. I was using an old phone of hers because mine's wasn't working and a load of notifications came through on Instagram DMs from a guy she worked with saying what they would do to each other. Wanting to confirm my thought rightly or wrongly while I was feeding our son during the night, I went through her phone and seen intimate details of stuff they have done, when and where. For past 3 months, I have basically been a single parent as she's been working late and isn't back until I put him to bed. I have sent it to myself as proof and will confront her tonight. What the duck am I meant to do? We were due to get married in August. Our son has just turned 1-year-old 2 weeks ago. My head is all over the shop as someone had a deadbeat parent. It isn't in myself to leave my son with someone who clearly doesn't care about us as a family. I'm just hurt. Story 2. 2018. Think I slept with my GF, 20th mom, 40 F for about a year. I had not met my GF at the time and her mom has been married. I feel like my life is romantic tragedy. Long story. Background. 3 years ago, I found out that my ex-girlfriend of 3 years was cheating on me, not with one friend, but 2. I was at work at the time and received an email from someone I didn't know. Subject line, I thought you should know. The video was of my ex and a friend going at it and her moaning his name. I was pissed and decided to go the apartment we shared. Open the door and hear moaning. Make my way to the bedroom and there she is with a different friend back to me. I pull out my phone and record for about 20 seconds, and then I tap him on the shoulder and tell him to get out of my apartment. He screams in a high-pitched manner and scrambles to his clothes, then leaves. She at this point is crying and going through the cheater's anthem. It's not what it looks like. I love you, don't leave me. You get the idea. I tell her to get out. She does after she keeps trying to explain. I'm calm and slowly getting her to the door. That night, I cancel and pay off everything for the month, including all bills and services. Call the landlord and inform him what's going on. He understands and lets me break the lease at the end of the month, 30-day away. I pay and send him a video of the state of the apartment, just in case. Then I make a video combining both videos I have with her cheating with text, calling her and them out as cheating puppy people. Set delayed message to be sent at 10 a.m. the next morning with the receivers being everyone I know, including parents, employers, co-workers, and friends. Then pack the important things in my truck and answer her constant calls and tell my now ex to come over tomorrow at 10 to talk. Factory reset my phone, left it on the counter with my keys and a note explaining what I did and left around 4 a.m. Now, without a phone, with no numbers, and vowed to never use social media platforms, BBC. I just kept driving until I found a place I wanted to stay and lived out of my truck for about a month. When I found the town that I currently live in, I found a decent job, found an apartment, and decided go to therapy. A year later, after and gaining about 50 lbs and just focusing on work, I decided to get my life together. I started with trying to go a gym about 2 blocks away. They were cheap and open 24 hours. I would go before work early in the morning because not many people were there. I was awkward and embarrassed. This is where I met Jane. Jane is fit and in her late 30s, early 40s. It started out her giving me advice and pointers. About a month later, open flirting and touching. I made it clear that I was not looking for anything and she agreed. We started to hook up about 3 times a week, for about a year. Sometimes at the gym, my truck, or my apartment. During this time, she said she had a couple kids and their dad was not in the picture. It was fun and she taught me a lot and I worked on a lot on cardio and endurance with her. Around this time, I decided to go back to college and get real about my future. Told Jane that I would not be going to the gym that early anymore due to classes and my job. She understood and wished me luck. Early on, in one of my classes, I got paired with a cute girl named Jasmine, 20. Jasmine and I started working on a project and got close. We shared a bunch of interests and hobbies, while spending time studying and doing schoolwork. We went to local cafes, libraries, and sometimes my apartment for this work. One day, I missed class and she came to my apartment to see if I was okay. I did not give out my number at this time, mainly communicated through school email. I just had a cold and was nervous with this virus running around. She had brought some food and a home test for said virus, negative. We spent the rest of the evening watching shows. This continued through the weekend when I was feeling better. One thing led to another and we started kissing. At this point, I really liked her. I stopped her and told her part of my history, that I have trust issues and commitment issues. Then I told her I want to go slow. She agreed and we continued going slow for about a month. After that month, things heated up. That was 2 months ago, and now we are officially dating. Some things about Jasmine. She has her own apartment with 3 roommates, all girls going to college, and we never go over there. We never really talked about her family because they were not that close anymore. But she said her parents had her when they were teenagers. Happily married for 21 years, and she has a little brother 7 years younger than her. I told her I did not have any family that's alive anymore. I guess at one point last week she mentioned to her parents that she was seeing someone, and they asked her to invite me over to watch the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. I was nervous when she told me this and asked what her parents are like and what they look like. Remember, I'm not on any social media. That is where she showed me a picture of her parents, Mark and Julie. I asked what her mom's name is again, and she said, Julie, why? I said she looks like a girl I knew, her name was Jane. She said, really, that's odd. Something about Jane Julie is that she has a red heart-shaped tattoo on her wrist, and this tattoo was in the picture she showed me. So my question is, what do I do? Do I tell her about what happened with the gym girl? Not say anything and hope Jana Julie doesn't say anything. I know how it feels being cheated on. In this case, I'm the app and I want to come clean to everything, but don't want to risk losing what is happening between Jasmine and I. Please help. Update. I-28 team. Thinks I slept with my girlfriend's 20 phone. Mom, fortive for a year before we met. Well, the past week has not been that good. Thanks for all the people who replied to my last post and gave advice. To the people that say this is a fake story, I'm sorry you think that, and I understand how it looks. I would doubt it as well if it wasn't directly happening to me, and I wish it was fake. I also want to say that yes, I do admit that I did some things in the past that I probably shouldn't have done. My only excuse is that there is a lot going on, and I was running on bad emotions rather than listening to my brain. Long story summarized, Jasmine and I have not talked since Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure we are broken up. Full story. After my post the next day, I went to get an actual phone, not the cheap flip phone that I had. Why are new phones and plans so expensive? I did those so that communication could happen easier later on if needy. Anyways, on Wednesdays and Fridays, Jasmine and I have a class together. When she came in, she could tell I was still not acting normal and tried to make me cheer up, and it worked. I asked if she wanted to grab a bite to eat at a place we like not far from my apartment. We met up at my apartment and decided to walk to the restaurant. Yes, it was cold, but a lovely evening altogether. We talked about class and I told her about my new phone, and she was telling me about some of the apps and features she liked about it. Still not using the big 3 social media platforms. Still getting used to it after having a burner phone, as she called it. We went home after eating and started to head back to the apartment. We did not talk until we got in the door. Now, my apartment is not that big. It has basically 3 rooms. The bedroom, the bathroom, and a shared kitchen and living room. The bathroom and a shared kitchen and living room. I walked in and sat on the couch on the far side of the room. She stood in front of me and asked what is going on with me and if this is about meeting her family. I responded that it was, and we needed to have a serious talk, and then I asked if she could please sit down. She got a sad and worried look on her face and asked if I was breaking up with her. I responded, that is the last thing I want to do. That I care for her and I trust her. She knows that for me, that is a big thing and is deeper than telling her that I love her. I asked her if she could answer a few questions honestly and please wait until after to ask questions back. She agreed. I took some of your suggestions with the questions. The first question was if I could see the picture of her parents again. She showed me. Then I asked if she had a picture of her mom's tattoo on her wrist, which she did from the day she got it done. My heart dropped at this point. Heart-shaped tattoo with the same details in writing. She noticed my shift at this and started to ask about it, but stopped herself. I then asked if her mom goes to the gym. She responded that she thinks she did before her brother goes to school. I think at this point she was really connecting the dots. My next question was the one that confirmed that it was her mom. I asked if she had an identifiable scar describing the shape and location. It could not be easily seen. She stood up and asked how the hell I knew that. I'm not afraid to admit I started to tear up and choke up. I apologized and retold a similar story to the one I wrote about in my last post. How I met a woman named Jane at the gym down the block and how she helped me out. How one thing led to another. Did not go into amazing detail, but got the point across and why when it ended, and that I have not seen her since that day until that picture. She stood there and started to cry. I wanted to stand up and give her a hug, but was afraid of what would happen. I tried to explain that it was nothing serious. We would just meet at the gym. No calls or text or emails. Then told her what little I know about Jane Julie via what she told me. That she has 2 kids and her husband father was not in the picture and small other details, including that I had no idea about her being currently married or the ages. This is when my girlfriend, I don't know what else to call her, asked about when it started and ended. I think this was to get a more accurate timeline of events. Then she said that she needed time to think it over and ask questions. I asked if I could give her a hug and walk her to her car. She agreed, and that was the second to last time I saw her. When Friday's class came around, she walked in not looking like her normal herself. I stood up, made eye contact, and she shook her head and walked to the other side of the room. Not going to lie, that look broke me. I went through the motions of class, and as soon as time was up, she left the room in a hurry. I talked to my professor and asked I could finish the semester at home instead of in class. I didn't want to cause her any more problems. I made the excuse of my job sending me somewhere for an unknown amount of time, and we ended up with an agreement. I am currently sitting in my apartment and trying everything in my power to not call or text her. If anything changes, I will either edit this post or put an update on this profile. Edit. I know what I did in the past to my ex is wrong. I regret it every day. I'm not trying to justify it because I can't. With that said, I don't actually know if it was sent out. I can't verify. I have had no contact with anyone from my past. No one has tried, that I know of. No one has shown up. Cops have not came to my door. I don't have any warrants for my arrest. Someone made the comment, what about my parents? I mentioned in the first post comments that I don't have any. I was in the system since I was young and passed from one family to another until I aged out. I have seen a therapist since I was a teenager to get over a bunch of my issues regarding this and more. I know I'm effed up, but until you are in the moment or standing in my shoes, you never know how you will act. I also want to restate that I wish this situation was fake, since I found out I have been on a spiraling decline. I have an appointment later in the week with my therapist and hope things improve. Story 3. Wife told me she wants a divorce. My 38 team, wife, 38F, told me this morning she wants a divorce. We've been together 20 years and our oldest just turned 18 and youngest turns 17 next week. We've had our problems as any couple 20 years deep would. We both cheated 12-15 years ago. Since then, everything has gone well, or so I assumed. She just got some plastic surgery and a new job making over $300K a year, so 3x what I make. I'm not sure if any of this has to do with her wanting a divorce, but I tend to think so. I asked her what can I do to change this, and she told me it's not you. I just want to be single. I'm currently sitting in my office at work crying my eyes out. I never thought of life without her. It just all feels unreal. I don't necessarily have any questions. I just feel hurt and lost and figured I'd post here. Hope you all are doing well today. Story 4. Just found out my wife went to a party at an addict's house. Throwaway for privacy. Context. I'm Trustin, 30, and me, my wife Lily, 28, have been married for 7 years. She recently had to use her vacation days separately from mine as we weren't able to make our different work schedules match. She traveled to our hometown to meet family and friends, and I'm doing the same a month later. I actually think it's good to have some alone time to unwind, so no issues there. The problem is, I'm now here in our hometown and went drinking with our friends in common last night. They started talking about how cool it is I'm back, and she was back, to visit them and ended up mentioning they had fun at Verm's place. I didn't know Verm, so asked who he is, and it turns out to be he's an acquaintance of hers and his place is used to get wasted on a variety of substances and to have S-time. The guy's a mess and multiple friends confirmed that to be true, the fact she was there, and that people get wasted and have S-time there on weekends. Our friends obviously thought I was cool about it, but I only got to know about it last night. I didn't confront her as I wanted to do it in person when I got back, but I guess I was visibly shocked enough that some of our friends told her I was informed about the situation. I woke up today to a bunch of missed calls, messages, and audio clips. She was angry. I was ignoring her. I was actually sleeping, and said our friends are liars, that she didn't mention she was there so as not to make me insecure, and that they only played some tabletopper peaks and she left before midnight. She says she only had 4 cans of beer and barely interacted with people there, but again, I also got multiple friends telling me she smoked 2 joints and they had a blast. A random girl even mentioned Lily's so pretty I wanted to make out with her too, but she's out my league. I'm pissed she lied to me, having cheated on me or not, and keeps lying. I have to admit, I don't have much confidence in my actions, so I'm afraid to have that one. Talk, and I end up letting this go only to regret it later. Should I just get into the house to grab my stuff and leave? Story 5. Should I bring up a potential parentage issue, which may come out through DNA testing? I, 55M. Married young while in the military. I was married to my ex-wife for 11 years. We had 2 children during my military service. I worked 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, and went on numerous short deployments, but nothing more than a few weeks at a time. Apparently, she was sleeping around quite a bit. It all came to a head when one of her apps was a married Army sergeant. Needless to say, infidelity is illegal in the military, and his wife discovered the affair and filed a complaint. There was a criminal investigation, which is how I learned of her infidelity. The applicable active military apps were prosecuted by their respective units. I was a 24-year-old and half a world away from any family, and she begged and pleaded. So I forgave her. Huge mistake. I left the military. We stayed married and had 3 more kids, 5 in total. I worked full-time at 40 hours a week and did college full-time. Old habits die hard, and in marriage year 11, I caught her cheating again. That was it for me, and we divorced. She wanted to be footloose and fancy-free, so she walked away from us completely. She signed over the house and gave me sole custody of our 5 kids and disappeared. We didn't hear from her again for 6 years when she showed up out of the blue and wanted to try to be involved in the kids' lives. Despite my support and encouragement to the kids, her attempts at kindling a relationship with them has never gone very well. She just could never commit to being there for them. Missed birthdays, holidays, etc. And they saw that. I sued her for child support after she resurfaced and got a sizable judgment against her. In those proceedings, she implied without saying it outright that one or more of the kids might be the results of her affairs and not biologically mine. I've raised my kids as a single dad, starting when my youngest was 2 years old and my oldest was just 10. I've been their dad through thick and thin, and that will never change. But here comes the big issue. Last Christmas, my middle daughter's boyfriend, she's 27, got her a 23andMe DNA kit. She took the test and it gave her results. The results did not include a sizable chunk of my family DNA. This indicates to me that she's not biologically mine. She suspects nothing, as we never really discussed my family's heritage. The results changed nothing for me. I kept my mouth shut and life has gone on. Now some of her sisters are talking about doing DNA tests too, for the fun of it. I've never done one and don't plan on it. But with Christmas rolling up on us, I'm worried that one or more of them may get their tests done and reveal that one or more of them are not full siblings, but only half siblings. I'm worried about what impact that will have. We've been a ridiculously close family unit, and the last thing I want to do is blow that up by my ex-wife's infidelity 20 years after I divorced her. Apparently, My ex's intimation has some truth to it. So should I sit them down and have a family discussion about the possible outcomes, or keep my mouth shut and cross that bridge if and when it comes? Thoughts? Story 6. My wife, 30th, kinda cheated on me. 13, depending on your definition. My wife and I have been married for 4 years. Some good days, some bad in that time frame. For the past year or so, things have been rough. My wife sat me down a year ago and told me I work all of the time and don't give her enough attention. To her defense, I do work a lot. That said, about a year ago when she sat me down and told me that, I really took it to heart and cut back my hours. I told her I loved her and my job is meaningless without her, and I genuinely have stuck to my more lax work schedule for this past year. There may be a day here and there where I'm working late, but it is not the norm, and I've made sure of it. I truly did my best to be present every single day when we both were home. I would always make time to chat with her, help with Andy or cook dinner, and do the dishes. Would tell her how beautiful she is and that I love her, because I didn't want her to feel like I was dismissive towards her or not giving her time and attention. I can confidently say I'm a pretty good husband. Well, in comes the poop storm. She's been very dismissive towards me, so I had to do something I never thought I'd ever do as a married man, and I read her text messages. I did this only after having a very cool, calm, and collected discussion as to how she is feeling in our marriage. Things were off, like way off. She was defensive of the question, so I knew something was up. I'm not proud of my intrusion of her privacy, but I found out she has been planning to have an affair with an older man, 36. They have already kissed on a few occasions, been on a date or two, and are generally having an emotional affair. But the freaking text messages they send. I mean, damn, talking about some crazy's timing. Not necessarily exchanging nudes, but just what they want to do in bed with one another. It was hard to read. Confronted her, and she lied. Confronted her again, and she lied again. I took photos of the conversation because I had a feeling there would be denial, and even then, she said she would never actually take it any further than playful texting. She said she found solace in this guy because he gave her the attention I apparently did not. I mean, she already kissed the dude. I don't even want to relive those text messages, but needless to say, they were all sorts and kinds of S-time fueled. For about a solid month, the S-time talk has been going on with this chump. Forgot to mention Mr. Chump is also married. Seems like a good guy. I feel like an idiot. I'm embarrassed and oddly more heartbroken than angry. I gave this girl every bit of gas I had in the tank, and she sure as hell let me know it was not enough. What do y'all think? Do I just need to cut the cord as fast as humanly possible? Rip it off like a bandit. I don't think this is salvageable. So really, I'm just looking for advice on next steps. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1. Quick, like a band-aid. Will hurt for a while, but the quicker you do it, the quicker it will end. Op. Answer. Amen. Thank you. Divorce lawyer, here I come. This is gonna hurt like a bish. Redditor 2. Dude, she is having an affair, and she's a liar. If she has genuine cause for being unhappy, then she has an excuse to leave. There is no excuse for cheating. Save the photos. Talk to a lawyer. If your state has a one-party law regarding recording others, then hit recording others, then hit record on your phone, put everything on the table, and let her hang herself. Op. Answer. Thanks for the reassurance. I agree. If I put myself in her shoes and I felt I wasn't getting the time attention I needed, I would have communicated my ass off, offered to go to therapy, literally exhaust every option. Then, and only then, would I consider a divorce, not cheating. Redditor 3. When times are tough, or even just simply fine and boring, she chose to share her intimacy with another person instead of working on your relationship. She's not trustworthy. She lied. She cheated. Your next steps depend on your self-respect. You don't need to have an overly emotional confrontation. Get your ducks in a row financially and legally. Op. Answer. Thank you. Self-respect is telling me to contact an attorney, get a divorce, and turn the page on this chapter as fast as possible.